All right, it's time to talk football. NFC West. Really excited about this right here at Cheap Seat Sports. We're so glad that you have decided to join us. I am the above average Steve Champagne, and that is the amazing Jason Powers for Cheap Seat Sports. How you guys doing out there? NFC West is going to be the most fascinating, most interesting, and most exciting division in all of the NFL, in my personal opinion, with the exception of one. We'll get to that another day. We all know what teams are in the NFC West. If you clicked on this particular video and you don't know who's in the NFC West, stop watching it and Google it, and you can rewatch the video. Otherwise, you're going to be like, oh, what about this? No, we're going to get back in there.
What about the Jets, man?
So let's talk about this. We have 4 teams in this league now, in this division. Now, we have the Rams, we have the Niners, we have the Hawks, and we have the Arizona Cardinals. My thought is this. And I'm going to shock the world when I say this, because this is going to be the first time in NFL history that this happens. Never before, and maybe never again. Now, you just say check when I'm right, okay? You just say check, all right? All right? I'm going to flip the camera to you every time I ask a question. It's going to be simple. The Rams are going to be pretty good.
Check.
The Niners are going to be pretty damn good.
Check.
The Seahawks won't suck. They'll do pretty good.
Check.
And if the Cardinals live up to expectations, they should do well as well, right?
Yeah, check.
So you know what that means.
Well, you think you're going to have 4 playoff teams? Oh, you think
I'm telling you right now, 4 playoff teams from if the Cardinals do well. Because when you look at the...
I don't know.
Here's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Okay. All you got to do is say check. You ready? Just check.
All right.
Will the Cardinals be better than the Eagles?
Not so sure about that.
You're nuts. This is why you have to watch this show. This is why you must hit the like and subscribe.
We'll get into the Cardinals later.
Expect the unexpected. You're telling me the Cardinals, with everything they've done, they got Kyler Murray. You're thinking that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be better than the Arizona Cardinals?
I think it's going to be close.
You're out of your mind. This is why I will win the pick segment again this year, but that's beside the point. What I'm saying is the Cardinals will be better than the Eagles. They'll probably be better than the Redskins. They're going to be better than the Bears, I think. They're probably going to be better than they're definitely going to be better than the Lions. The Falcons are in rebuilding mode. I can't expect too much from Carolina.
Steve.
What?
Steve.
What?
It's been in a year and a half.
What? What do you mean a year and a half?
The Washington football team, brother.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Just saying.
I'm always going to say that.
At some point, you got to get used to that.
The Chargers are always going to be from San Diego.
Don't be that angry old man 40 years from now who's ranting about the Washington, Skins. Come on now.
Hail to the
come on.
Football team.
Yeah. Did you hear they're going to actually? We'll get to
we'll get to that in a different segment. We're talking about the NFC West right now, and let's stick to that. I honestly believe that if Arizona lives up to expectations, we could have 4 playoff teams, because I don't believe in a lot of the other teams winning a lot of games. And I'm thinking you're going to have to win 10 to get in. Yeah. And I'm not sure that teams that are pretty good, it's all about injuries. We know this. Okay. And one of the teams that has stayed healthy, and if they stay healthy, they might squeak in with 10 wins, and that's the Minnesota Vikings. But I don't see Chicago, Detroit, the Eagles, the Redskins, maybe the Giants, the Panthers, the Falcons. I don't see any of them winning 10 games. But I can see if Arizona lives up to expectations.
Overrated.
I think they're overrated. But
I don't think they're going to do badly. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to do badly. I mean, they're going to be competitive. I'm not impressed by their running back tandem. I mean, we'll get into that later. But I definitely see 3 teams making the playoffs out of this division, I feel.
Well, you know what I think about the Rams? I think they're going to be the most exciting team. They're going to be the greatest show on turf, part 2. I think they're going to score a lot of points. I think that's going to allow Aaron Donald to get a lot of sacks because they'll be playing with the lead. It's really about injuries, as we know, being that you're a San Francisco 49er fan. No one knows more about injuries than 49er fans.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but that's your team.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And just to go, and let's get this right out here right now, just to let you know how unbiased we are. Okay, we think from the heart. No, the head, not the heart.
No, that's true.
The head.
That's true.
The head.
If the
not
Niners
the-
were a disaster this year, I would easily project them to go 3-14, and I would rail again about how crappy they are, but I would still, bleed garnet.
Right, but you don't live in San Francisco.
No.
Have you ever lived in San Francisco?
No, I've been there a couple times.
But-
one of my favorite places on earth.
But you get what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah,
trying
just because I'm a fan of the team doesn't mean I'm going to rule with, like you said, I'm going to rule with my heart. No,
Right.
I'm going to think with my head.
Well, for me, I'm a fan of players and teams, and unfortunately, in the free agent market, players go to other teams, and when that player moves to another team, I kind of root for that team. You know what I'm saying? Some guys are not like that. I'm sure there's a lot of fans in New England that do not like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot of them, but I'm sure there's others that'll be like, hey, you know what? We love him. He was with us 20 years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, not being that we're unbiased, I told you before in our Rams preview segment, you guys could check out that as well as other videos. And while you're doing that, hit the like and subscribe button. We would love to have you join the Cheap Seat Sports family here and talk sports all year round. As we just started this channel. Anyways, getting back to the Rams, I'm really high up on them. I think that Matthew Stafford's going to light it up. I don't think the Niners are going to stay healthy, and that's the only reason I'm not predicting them. I think the Seahawks have bad defensive problems, and I think the Arizona Cardinals is overrated. And I don't think anyone's going to run away with this division because I do think the Rams will have a letdown. And your thoughts generally on the division? Tell me what you think.
Well, you touched on something earlier I want to go back to during one of the other segments. I don't see any of these teams, finishing with more than 12 wins, especially because they're facing each other, and everybody in this division is really competitive. I mean, even Arizona, who I think will probably trail, they'll probably end up last in the division. They're not a bad team, but I will say that only one of these teams has a shot at winning the Super Bowl. No matter how good that everybody does during the regular season, only one of these teams has the makeup, has the personnel, has the coaching staff. If they can stay healthy enough, San Francisco is the only team that's going to have a shot to win the Super Bowl out of this division.
You mean the Los Angeles Rams?
No, I mean the San Francisco 49ers.
You mean the Los Angeles Rams?
Go ahead with everybody else and just chap your lips and, get your lip gloss on and let Matt Stafford pull his trousers down so everybody can kiss his royal butt. I am just not a believer in Matt Stafford. Period. I am not a believer in Matt Stafford. I know you're big on him. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everybody sees things differently. It's not that I think that the Rams are a bad team. They're not. And it wouldn't even surprise me if they won the division, especially with the wideouts that they have. He damn sure has options to throw to. That's for sure. But I just don't see him having the game to take them all the way. I don't see him being that guy.
Well, if you're a riverboat gambler out there, like Ron Rivera, but that's in another division. If you're a gambler out there and you look at the Las Vegas odds right now, before the season starts...
Would that make him a Rivera boat gambler?
Maybe. But the...
oh, you didn't even catch that.
The Niners...
Humor's lost on
the Niners and the Rams, I think, are plus 1,600 to win the Super Bowl. So you bet 100 to win 1,600.
I'm probably going to.
If I was anybody on the planet, I would, $100 these days. What's that? A tank of gas? So I'm just saying that, to drop a $100 bill to win 16, if the team wins the Super Bowl, it not go, but win. It's plus 1,600, at least as we made this video. Things may change over the next few weeks, but once you're locked in at those odds. So I'm just saying that I like the Rams to win this thing. I think that Matthew Stafford, who is a warrior, will play hurt. He will do whatever it takes. I think they have the defensive staff and I'm big on defense. You know that. I think that they're going to survive due to health and Matthew Stafford, who has got a lot of guts and grit. And that's why I think the Rams are going to take this division. Your final thoughts?
Niners will take the division. I mean, I believe. I feel bad for Seahawk fans. I do. I feel bad for Seahawk fans because it was so obvious last season that they needed to help the offensive line direly. And not only did they not do that, and that's most of the reason why Russ got so annoyed and pretty much, according to some people, demanded a trade. And this is going to be the last season for Russell Wilson, regardless, in a Seattle uniform.
You really think that?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely do, because they did not do anything really that much to help with the offensive line. Again, they did this. They got one guy that they drafted who's going to play on one of the ends, and that's great, and he's going to do fine. That means that you're going to have 4 out of 5 guys that are being dominated regularly. I mean, we kind of elaborate more about this in the Seahawks segment, but one of the reasons that Russ was cooking so much last year, that guy right there, Russell Wilson, one of the reasons why he was cooking so much is because he was running for his life and had to get rid of the ball. So I'm hoping that Pete Carroll's going to stick to running the ball more. He's been saying that, all off season, that they're going to ground and pound a little more. I know this, Steve. 3 out of 4 of these teams could win the Super Bowl, but I'm only giving one of them a legitimate shot.
Well, anybody could win the Super Bowl these days. You just don't know. That's the best thing about the NFL, is that it's totally unpredictable. I mean, did you really think last year that I didn't think that some of the teams that, I thought
Cleveland.
I thought the Saints
Cleveland
was gonna do this, especially after that Week 1 performance. Mm-hmm. Where they dominated the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. I know it was a pandemic season, so it was kind of screwy and all this, that, and the other. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and only one person can hold that trophy up at the end of the year. But my thought on your point with Russell Wilson is if he leaves the Seahawks, somebody's in trouble. And what I mean by somebody's in trouble is this. Where would he go? And I'm only thinking there's only 3 places who need a quarterback, because you can't.
Yeah, but that's a whole year from now.
But there's only 3 people that need a quarterback, really. I mean, if you really think about it, there's only three teams that need a quarterback.
And things can change so much in 1 year. Just think of how many, just in recent memory, in the last 5 years. Okay, think of how many highly touted draft picks at quarterback, especially, have come into the league, and so much was expected of them, and they flamed out, and after 1 year, the team switches courses and goes down this stream. A lot can change in a year.
Well, coaching. You know how I'm big on coaching. I'm big on coaching, and the reason why I'm big on coaching is I've seen this before. A player, and I don't care if it's a defensive player or an offensive player, quarterback, lineman, linebacker. I've seen these guys go from one team to another team, and then all of a sudden you go, wow, where was that guy at when he was playing over here? Coaching has a lot to do with it, and people don't give the coach enough credit. And the quarterback gets all the credit when they win and none of the blame when they lose. It's always some bad play call or something like that. But the coach really, honestly, can make or break a team. Look at the Dolphins. Last year, I mean, was that not a coaching masterpiece? To me, it was a coaching masterpiece for that team to win that many games. But we're talking about the NFC West. Who do you think is the best coach in the NFC West?
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. I couldn't really say. But you mentioned coaching, so I think we should wrap up the segment, and I'm gonna coach our fans right now a little bit. All right, this is what you need to do if you want to have success this season. All right, you want to outpick your friends and be a big success and maybe even win some money. If that's what you choose to do. What you should do as your coach, I'm telling you, like and subscribe to the Cheap Seat Sports and watch NFL Weekly Predictions every week. Tell your friends about us. Join the family. Make some comments. Ask us questions. Get involved. We love that. You can even criticize us. Hey, we're not perfect people. We can take it. But like and subscribe. It's going to be a great season. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in for NFL Weekly Predictions right here on the Cheap Seat Sports.